And hello and welcome along. Hi, it's Kathy Frey here from IMCO from the International Integrated Maternity Healthcare Organisation, and welcome along today to Moffat Osaro. Moffat, welcome back. Say hello.
Thank you very much.
And it's so great to have him here. For those of you who have not met Moffat before, what an extraordinary man. So I'm going to get him to give a bit more of an overview of where he is and what he does. But amazing. So just a little bit of a background. So in 2009, with only $1,000, Moffat started a medical facility called FreMo, and was joined 2 years later by his brother. And their whole focus is providing affordable, quality, accessible Medicare to the people of Kawangwiri informal settlement, which I know I want you to tell everybody a little bit more about. It was a huge task. He's in a developing, third world country, but the centre has attracted over the years global attention for its better and gentle care of families and women, just seeking better maternity health care. In June 2011, that's 12 years ago now, Moffat was joined by the Australian midwife Vicky Chan, and together with his brother established that gentle care culture of birthing at their beautiful centre. And upon meeting Moffat, Vicky Chan, the midwife, in her blog, she writes, in 2014, Moffat founded FreMo Elementary School for the children, born with passion, gentleness and compassion at the local FreMo Birth Centre. And in 2022, 8 years later, Moffat was one of the authors of the best-selling book, Womb to Thrive, which is a collaboration book. And what he's going to discuss today is that whole humanistic maternal care way. And so let me hand over to you, Moffat, and we'll get your slides up.
Wow. Thank you very much, Katie, for giving me another opportunity to be in this series once more. I'm always delighted.
Absolute pleasure to have you back, because what you're doing is just incredible. And I know we'll have some people live here today and some people watching it later on, and or many people watching later on. So it's just spread your golden word.
Well, thank you. I mean, I feel so happy when I do this because it's my passion, it's my life, it's what I feel like I do for my life. I think I do not know what it will be like not to have done what I did today.
And I love that. That's a gorgeous saying. I don't know what it would feel like to have not done what you have to do.
Exactly. And when I talk to people who share my passion, we say it's so satisfying. There's that thing you do, and then whatever the challenges, whatever the circumstances, whatever it's calling, you feel that it's worthy to be alive, to be involved. And I'm telling you, for the last 10 years, I couldn't be in a better place than where I am today. And I always...
And please tell the audience more about where you are. Yeah.
Oh, I'm in Nairobi, Kenya, the East African part. Many people think Africa is one country, but no, I'm in Kenya. Kenya is one of the countries in Africa, and it's in the eastern part of the continent. I live in Nairobi. Nairobi is the capital city of Nairobi. It's known all over the world. But within Nairobi, there are so many places, there are so many settlements. But where I find myself is an informal settlement, what we sometimes call a slum. A slum is a place where you find people are living more often in abject poverty. We say sometimes most of the time, these people survive less dollar per day. And resources are paramount for human survival. Whatever part of the world you are, whatever way you're trying to do, resources are paramount. So when we are talking about people, humanity surviving instead of thriving under $1 per day, you can only imagine. And they are human beings. They want to enjoy life. They want to thrive. They want to reach their life of, self-actualization. So one of the things that you also find here is that maternal care is a huge task. You know, look at maternal care. It's taken seriously all over the world, from the United Nations and government organizations, governments, individuals. They are all involved, but somehow it doesn't really show the picture that happens down here. So I was inspired, as Katie has said. I'd moved to this settlement and I became a recipient of poor medical care. I got very sick. I was almost dying. So this really inspired me to do better. By doing better is to come with a solution and say, hey, what if next time this gets me or somebody else? So I committed myself to see the way out of all odds, because I was not a candidate for this kind of work. I was not a medical personnel, And of course, if I go back to high school, my teachers would have said, oh, you will make a good the way I was. But here I had taken a different trajectory to do administration and management. Now, this really was a wake-up call, because when I got sick, I moved from one clinic to another in these settlements, because they are not regulated. And you can find another person opening a clinic because they're not qualified enough. They want to make money or something. So the medical care is compromised. So at this time, my brother Fred was interning his last year in medical school. And I called him. I told him the condition I was, and they came over, diagnosed me, and gave me some IV, which I felt and I was convinced that I was going to be better. But in the process of administration, I said to him, when I get well, we are going to be the solution in this community in medical care. And that's how this journey started, just that way. And I can tell you that one experience, that one commitment transcended to what we have today. Now, down the line, when a time came for us to get started, unfortunately, Fred got involved in a government project, because I had a timeline. When you have this project, you have to say, I committed myself to do this. And therefore, I could not escape. The sensation that was panning me was like, you've got to do what you promised yourself to do. And when I thought about this, I was able to walk to the government officer, request for registration. I looked for a nurse and a few medical personnel, and we get started. So a few years later, Vicky Chan is a midwife from Australia. This is a lady who wanted all her life to be in Africa, but it was not like me, because for me, I pushed this dream to come sooner. But she had waited all this time long, but she didn't know when and where in Africa. It was a passion, as she shares, that since she was a child. So she read about FreMo, and immediately she contacted me. And she said she has read about FreMo in Nairobi, and she felt this was the perfect timing. And at this time, she was flying to Colombia, to another country in the eastern part of Asia. to volunteer. And she went there immediately. She came back and planned a job. It was, I think, around January. By June, she was in town. You see now, I had this passion. You know, everything was conspiring to make this dream a reality. You know, I was looking at the and she had read a story about maternity. And the idea of maternity was not at the front line. Let me say briefly how my passion for maternity came in. It was also out of me being a victim of success. How did it happen? You see, by the time I'm starting the center, I got married and my wife became pregnant and she started getting her care at FreMo. So she had high risks and the doctor decided because our blood pressure was rising. And at this time, we could not have managed her here. If it was now, she could have stayed at FreMo and would have cared. So the doctor on duty decided to write a referral to a public hospital. And we went there. I was so shocked, the kind of care, the kind of attitude, the kind of reception I received at the other end. I was so happy to receive my son as a first new parent who is ready for fatherhood, who is ready for parenthood. When you get disgusted by the way people treat you, you feel like you are lost. Here, I'm a victim of poor maternal care. This is what happened. We arrived with my wife. I was talked in a very bad language. I was said, your work was finished. So we don't want you here. Go and register your wife and go back home. I could not even argue with this nurse. And I was like, I can't stay. And she said, you will come tomorrow during visiting hours. So I left my wife there. If I went home trying to imagine how the care will be. I went the following day. I found there was nothing that has been done. They were giving us some drugs. They were not monitoring her. And then the second day I went, they asked me to look for a drug induction, which I tried to look for all over the town the whole day I could not find. I came back to the hospital and talked to the consultant that I was given a prescription and the drug, only to be told the drug is a prescription drug for induction. It cannot be sold in outside pharmacies. So they told me to get to within the hospital. I did go there. I brought it to the doctor. And then they started inducing my wife. The first induction failed. My wife was getting tired. They forgot to do it again within the required timing. Mm-hmm. And they did the following day. So when finally it picked up, my wife was in pain. She was a first mama. She was a young girl. She was around 22 years at that particular time. She was not going in support. Every time she was trying to explain to the midwife what was going on, she said, it's not yet time. You're going to feel it. Just wait. It's just starting. And then she got scared. So the time she was going into active labor, she was scared because it was an induction. She didn't know that the pain will come to this magnitude. Nobody was listening to her. The midwife were always laughing at her. After all, she was her first mother to be. And she started calling me the whole night. It was a time like this I can remember when she said she was losing it. So we were trying to look for a person we know at the public hospital to help. I woke up all my family trying to tell them that my wife was in. And my elder sister managed to have known one nurse, but that time she was working in ICU. It's a walking distance from ICU to maternity. And you know, when you are working in ICU, you rarely get out. But she pegged her. By the time she arrived at maternity, my wife had delivered our baby boy Frank on the floor by herself. And this was the most awful experience. When I look at my boy, I can't want to share that story because I don't know what will happen to him if he knows that he was introduced to this world in such a in humane manner. And
And the
today,
scary thing being that you knew that that was happening to all those women at that birthing suite,
exactly,
right? This
yeah,
wasn't just your wife. This was what all the treatment that all the women were getting. And it's certainly the theme that we see so often here on these webinars is that catalyst story, behind why somebody has ended up doing what they do, what created that passion, and put that light under them. And it must have been incredibly scary so scary for her and so scary for you that you couldn't go in and rescue her from that situation.
sure. And I can tell you that was the worst part of treatment I can imagine. And I can't imagine how people can be inhuman, and when they are care providers, you are running to a person who's supposed to be the caregiver, and then they end up being monsters. And that's why I feel that I started now doing this maternal care. And from my past experience, I feel that it's a good thing for us to be human enough to provide the care in a humanistic way. And a few years later, I joined psychology class. I graduated in psychology, and I was able to incorporate the humanistic kind of counseling, where
Right.
your client is the center of counseling. You listen to the problems of your client. They become the center of the process, not you. And I think this is what should be done in maternal care settings. And I'm the first person to coin this thing and saying humanistic maternal care approach. And you see, we are human beings. Don't hurt others. And when you are a caregiver at any point, whether you are doing for the elderly, whether you are doing for your own children, whether you are a foster parent, whatever capacity of caregiving you find yourself, do it in a humane way of unconditional love, of offering safety and all that. So this is where I'm coming from, and this is what I've stood for. This is the process with my team and my volunteers and my friends we have built, and hopefully this will be felt in many areas. I know it's not just because it's an informal settlement. I've had cases in big hospitals in the West, they suite, they have all the resources, and they have everything. They have the best insurance, not like us, but treating women and their families as objects. It's rather insane.
Yeah, that
So,
doesn't stop. Even as you say, even when there's access to all the best medicine, um, there's still such a miss sometimes on that humanistic aspect of care. Some of those watching will be familiar that there's a bunch of us that volunteer on a Facebook forum called Ask the Maternity Gurus. And some of the questions that come through are shocking in that their question makes it so obvious that they're getting sub level of care, particularly around explanations and understandings of things. Women sort of shoved to do things or have a treatment or undergo a process without fully understanding why and what's going on and what is it that they're consenting to. And so you're in a situation where you just often don't have access, in that third world setting, to you know, perhaps some of the higher level obstetric care. And then you've got the women who do have access to it, but they're still not treated in a humanistic way so often, because they're asking questions that somebody should have explained to them somewhere along the way in their care. And it is quite shocking. So now we've got your, I've put up your slides, and some of you will see on that first slide that it mentions APA there.
Oh, wow, exactly.
Yeah, which is the presentation that
yes,
that Moffat did with the Association of Prenatal and Perinatal Psychology and Health. So that's wonderful that you're going to go through those slides.
Exactly. And it was one of the best presentation. And I said this care is universal. Whatever I shared here and whatever the title, it's going to apply in our temporary care wherever we are.
Absolutely.
Thank you. We can go to the next slide.
Yeah, okay. Cool. Yes. I'll turn off my camera and
wow.
And then you just let me know when you want the next slide. I'll let you take over.
Yes. Wow. Okay, we can go next. So thank you. Now, my first slide, humanistic counseling. I'm saying I'm a psychologist. I'm an advocate for normal and humanistic care of maternal care, and I'm incorporating my psychology with maternal care. So in humanistic counseling, the counselor provides a deep understanding of the person and focuses on the client's innate ability to love and grow. The humanistic approach aims to help the client reach self-actualization as referred by Abraham Maslow and Carol Rogers. Humanistic therapies are based on the fact that humans gravitate towards goodness and can overcome obstacles and reach their goals with the right support. Next slide. So the definition of humanistic maternal care approach, as the term implies, from psychological point of view, this is the care that is client-centered, tailored to meet the client's personal choices, birth plan, and in the end, empowering her to achieve the best possible pregnancy and birth. They give us a respective of our birth plan. They are genuine, compassionate, passionate, and caring all throughout our journey. Next slide. So the humanistic maternal care approach, this is now, we have incorporated this. What are we saying about this care? What are we practicing? What are we giving our clients? What are the women experiencing? In the photo, in that slide, this is a group of mothers who have come back to the center as a Thanksgiving. So we have this Mother's Day when women come here to share their experience, to share their care received. It is a scorecard. You know, it's one thing to care and let them go, but also it's another thing to know, how did I care for you? So providing personalized evidence-based maternal care programs with proven better outcomes. And I can say, whatever we've done all these years, it gives us a legit of saying this has come to pass. It incorporates humanistic approaches at individual caring level that will plant inner peace and will undoubtedly persuade not only the perception, but also to free the mental process and influence positive attitudes of the mother that she will use as a weapon to trap the conflicts and challenges surrounding the desired care to arrive at the central process of birth. So what I'm saying here is that what you give a woman at care will always remain for the rest of our life. But the other day I was asking my mother at the time I was born, how was my care? Over 30 years later, she can vividly explain. And this will make her either laugh or keep quiet. So this care, when it's humanistic, it changes everything. It will also empower maternally this woman to overcome and other obstacles that she is going to encounter in the process of nurturing and nourishing our baby to thrive. Next slide. What are the pillars of humanistic maternal care? I've said when I started that, look, what do women find in maternal settings? What do midwives provide? What are the policies and protocols in these settings? So Katie had said where women are always, something is done without our consent. You do a vagina examination without telling her. You give her a drug without telling her whether she's consenting or not. Some policies or protocols are just laid there and are followed blindly at the expense of the women's choice. So the pillar is going to have informed choice. Tell me this is what's going to happen so that I can make a choice out of the information you have given, not free of manipulation, not just saying that when it's going to do this, explain, I want to do this and do this. Why? Do you allow me to do this? It is proven. What are the risks involved? Am I going to do it? Compassionate care. Compassion is free. When we look deeper into our hearts as human beings, we feel that compassion should be inherent in our hearts, and it's free. So we can either allow it to be left in our hearts without expressing and sharing, giving to others, or we should stand and give other humanity, more especially the women who sometimes are vulnerable because of the process and feel they need more compassion than any other people around that care. Safety, whatever, are the women safe? Is the care safe? Are the people involved skilled? Do they know what they are doing? Well, is there the practice evidence-based? Privacy and confidentiality. You give the person their privacy. That's dignity. That is respect. Whatever you do to her, in most settings, you find women are just put in open places. They are unable to express their labor pains because they feel humiliated, the settings they are. They also are charged the way they express their labor pains. So they feel like they're not treated well. There's no dignity in the process. They are not comfortable. I can tell you, over the years, I've seen women who get comfortable because there's privacy, there's support, there's family around them, and they feel that they are loved, and they smile after the care because of the treatment. Next slide. Now, in that photo, these are the women who are coming to share every Wednesday afternoon. We have these women who are coming for a centering, what it's called. But here we call it a prenatal care circles. Women are united in a circle, and they come here to share their experiences, their challenges, their past, what they went through, like I've shared what my wife went through, and they feel that what is expected of them. Women, in more often, they feel that because there's no way they're going to know which center is going to provide with them the best of care. So they just close their eyes to pass through the process of labor and give birth and take it as normal. So how do we build our society for the future? Look where I am. We're in the formal settlements. The challenge is so huge. How do we change this culture, this mindset? How do we empower that one family, that one woman to nurture to a good baby in the future to change all these things? A little child in the womb should experience the sense of universal love in a divergent world. Give love to a pregnant woman, then you clubs planted seeds of future world peace at the primordial stage of life. The opportunity during the prenatal period is the focal point to train a woman, to change the family, to change the generation, and to download it to the unborn baby. The love that a mother promotes to a child in the womb is real and has received the support of science. When you love a woman, when you support her, when you strengthen her, when you empower her, that automatically trickles and is downloaded to the unborn child. It's peace. This woman should be supported and given the right information in making a peaceful pregnancy with herself. It doesn't matter where the woman is coming from. You are the opportunity, whether she's coming from poverty, whether our past birth experiences are hopeful and sorrowful, seize that opportunity and make it right. Next slide. The stakeholders support our woman. We are all stakeholders. Wherever you are, you have seen when you are in a public transport, if a woman walks and she's pregnant and there's no seat, what do? We stand, she sits down. If a woman goes in labor in a plane, everything will stop to welcome that unborn child. Women everywhere need support, our support. The mothers are the source of future peace and love we craft for, whether family, community, national or international organization. Communities have a stake and should take pillar in ensuring mothers are treated well, fairly, sacredly, because in all religions, our focus is peace. Even atheists agree that peace is ultimate. All those around expectant mothers, right from family level, communities, and other organizations that reach and attend to women in pregnancy should identify their role responsibly and propagate loving care at all stages of fetal development, at birth, and subsequent development and growth of the children. And also not forgetting that these women need more support during the postpartum period to be loved, be supported with resources. Whatever support they require from all of us, we should step in and make it possible. When we practice and become the source of peace for a pregnant mother, we will have passed the test to a world free of turmoil, conflicts, and animosities. And when you look at the conflicts all over the fightings, the wars around the world, I mean, these obstacles can be overcome if we start showing that love, we should give love to life. And at what stage? From pregnancy and all that. Next slide. maternal care at informal settlement. I give an intro of where I am, what we do. I'm going to tell you that it's very hard to do care in such a settings. But I'm so happy that my team and myself have gone beyond this, and I have given the care that all of us are fully proud of. Now, look, I give an example that a woman is coming and she's in labor. She has no resources. She has worked on food. Possibly it's a rain season or it's a dry season, a rain season. She's without shoes, or if it's a dust, it's dust all over. And she comes to you, she has no resources. She was not able to have a prenatal care and she needs to give birth. What will you do? And resources are paramount. She has missed so many opportunities. So such as settings are challenged to practice and trace. It's not easier. And more often, people do not understand that this is real in the 21st century. And people like where we are, we really need support. We need resources because this is a mark we are making in this side of the world. Because we've never had a maternal death here. And even the few maternities we have for the infants are few, because we practice and share the care that covers everything. And as much as we say that our center is a low risk center, sometimes the care we receive is of high risk. You know what? Last night, a woman arrived at our center. She had a breech-positioned baby, and she was fully dilated. You don't have theater. What will you have done? Because our team is skilled, because our team is passionate, because our team knows how to practice the humanistic maternal care, they stepped in, and a beautiful baby was born. And sometimes we have women who come in and probably they are procuring abortions because of the challenges, circumstances they were there. And they come here almost dying because they were procuring abortions, back streets. So what happens? Don't throw them away, receive them. You don't condemn them, give them care, give post-abortion care, give her counseling, show her love, let her go home. So it has an established fact that the informal settlements experience violence than any other neighborhood. There are challenges of poverty, no running of water. Some kids don't go to school. There's drug abuse, the order of the day. It's taxing to raise a normal child in such a setting. These are hubs of conflicts, fighting, muggings, day and night robberies, rape, and all sorts of justice. Today, when I was taking one of our midwife in the morning to go to another branch for immunization, we found a gentleman who was going to work very under on foot. He got killed and was thrown in the alley. And now the police have to come try to identify him, probably to call their family. This is a guy probably who was going to look for food for his family. And he was caught and killed. So the seeds of animosity have been planted long before their time of birth. How do you come up with a solution to increase awareness in promoting peace, harmony, and love? Next slide. FreMo Path Center is established. This is where we are. These are the women, the photo displayed there, these are women who are coming for postnatal Mother's Day at FreMo. Beautiful families who have passed the test of humanistic maternal care at our center. The care at FreMo is simple, normal, and compassionate. We advocate normal natural births Our birth rate is the high of 96%. Our main focus is to propagate love and self-acceptance. Our prenatal care comes with a package. We emphasize safety and healthy eating habits, drinking of clean water during pregnancy, inviting partners, immediate family members, and their participation is encouraged or supported to instill confidence and appreciating them throughout the care. We explain them that they need proper self-care, self-assertion, self-love, self-consciousness during this period. And with good care and support, they are ready to unpack. Consequently, we set a tone to prove they are past wrong in all ways possible, with no manipulation, to prepare for the beautiful possible pregnancy and birth. Next slide. In the slide, this is our vision. We envisage a world where each woman is nurtured, heard, and valued, and has the information, resources, confidence, and support she requires to achieve the best possible pregnancy, birth, and mothering experience. In such a world, our baby will be born with a fair and equal chance at life and love. Next slide. That's our bathroom. It's the room that women give birth. We provide an environment of friendly birth setup. Quite peaceful, so quiet, warm lit with lamps, mats spread on the floor for free positioning, squatting, and wiggling. Safe and clean environment. Mats along the floor for flexible positions. We have pathing stools, peanuts, and pathing tools. Next slide. What is it like to be in perinatal environment? I shared earlier on the kind of setup my wife gave birth of her son. We encourage movement. We encourage drinking and light meals and emptying the bladder over and over again. There's privacy in the rooms provided. It's personalized. Each woman is given her own room with a midwife and her family. There's minimal use of drugs. We have emergency drugs to intervene when there's emergency and obstetric emergency to ensure there's safety. There's soft music playing on the background when the mother chooses. There's the light cord clamped. We clamp the cords, but it stops pulsating so that the blood or the blood at the placenta has to flow all the way to the baby. Even when the baby needs resuscitation, it has to be attached. Minimal internal examination. We don't do routine NR. Women are not comfortable. You do internal examination the way you want it to see how she has moved. We do it necessary. And we provide perineum support. So if sometimes you find most of our women and first-time mothers, the perineum is intact after birth. Next slide. Oh, I said earlier, when I went to Kenya, I was thrown out of the hospital and I was told to come when my wife was delivered. It was our experience. In the West, when you watch in the movies, the wife accompanies the husband accompanies the wife. They are there, they are supporting each other. It's always known in the West. But in our cultural context in Africa, it was something in the past. But it's one of the things we debated with Vicky, and we say, with this kind of understanding, we are to incorporate and tell the men they have to be present to support their women, to know their role. This partake of the past has to be stopped. And I have heard stories of women saying, well, my husband was so violent and brutal, but when she accompanied me in the bathroom, it was just beautiful. So we encourage men to be present at birth, to support physical and emotional support, to know their roles in providing and coming home punctual, make sure the women are eating well and provided, to provide for the needs of the baby, and to encourage them to breastfeed up to 6 months and to bring the babies for child welfare clinics and for the women to come for the postnatal checkup. Next slide. Fathers are involved in antenatal care as well. Support and encourage the wives throughout pregnancy to ensure the women do not sexually get infected, to ensure they remain faithful throughout the pregnancy, to encourage the mothers to come for the prenatal care and take the supplements when it's needed, and also to make sure, malaria is very paramount here, that women are supposed to sleep under mosquito-treated nets. They also make sure that they sleep under the nets. Next slide. So our team of midwives, one of the things I noted earlier is that when I went to this hospital, it was awful. The midwives were so inhumane. They were monsters from another world. So we have a flexible, and our team, are a flexible and understanding partner in birth. They own and apply their instincts to work. They're optimistic. They have to tell the women to encourage them to go through the process. Like transitioning is a very difficult time for the mothers, but they are optimistic. They have high emotional quotient. They honor the mother's birth plan. They are the believer of the birthing process, and they give normal birth a chance. They are experts in facilitating normal birth. They are able to recognize deviation from the norm, and if a referral is necessary, they have to design it before it gets worse. They have high expectation of themselves, confident working by themselves, as well as a strong team with others. Next slide. What would be the facilitation be like in our room? Personalized care, gentle care, massage, love, application of massage to flush pain and anxieties, use of birthing pulse and peanuts, partners providing emotional and physical support. They encourage to drink and take light meals. Of course, they empty their bladder as well as the glucose. Facilitators are a qualified, experienced team. Next slide. Postnatal care. Postnatal care, women at our center stay at the postnatal rooms until they're stable. But in some cases, women are underage girls. They are first-time mothers who have a challenge in breastfeeding and our support. They can stay longer until we feel they're stable. But we encourage as well bonding after birth, skin to skin. We have a postnatal outreach program. In fact, we are the only center in Nairobi that has a postnatal outreach system where women are visited at home from the hospitals. We never missed this chance. The healthcare is extended beyond the bathroom. At home, the outreach midwives encourage these women to practice cleanliness, eat well, and take care of the little babies with love. Next slide. That's the midwife outreach. The midwife parts and goes with the tribe. We have a van that goes through the slums to go and visit these women. So what the midwife does is to call the mothers, get the direction. They go to their home, they examine the baby, they check the vitals, they look at the discharge summary to see whether it's being followed. They weigh the baby, they check the skin of the baby, they check the cord, whether it's healing well or it's getting septic. They also check whether the baby is passing urine or stool. They also tell the women when to start bathing the baby, because they don't bathe the baby at the hospital, but they have to wait until that time when they in that the bone is good. The new mother is also checked. We have saved a lot of mothers because the midwives go home and find that whether the blood pressure is elevated or the mother is not breastfeeding well and the breasts are cracked. Or sometimes they find that the women are weak because of the hemoglobin level and they are brought back to the clinic. And this program has really saved a fortune of women. Next slide. We have better outcomes from our statistics. Our statistics are reported in the government offices. We have our copies here, and we are supervised by the government over and over again. In fact, like tomorrow when we have our CMS, the government is going to be here to see our maternity trainings are done. So we have the normal birth rates at the highest of 96%. The partner support, the men who are present, the partners is 70%. For the past 12 or so years, we have never had no maternal death. We have success after birth complications. The infection of HIV post mothers to their babies, we have had no transmission. That's why I'm saying that with the prophylaxis and the medication they given during pregnancy and birth, all the babies who have been born of the HIV post mothers are negative. The exclusive breastfeeding up to 6% is a highest of 99%. We have a very minimal infant mortalities. The mothers who are reached in their homes through the midwife outreach is 99%. We have never had no third-degree tears. We have never done no episiotomies. We have had pre-delivery like the one I've said last night. We also have women who come for a birth after cesareans. And we have had cases of emergency distortions and some who have come in and they have been a success. Next slide. What are opportunities at FreMo? At FreMo, we have opportunities for volunteering midwives throughout the year. So what a midwife has to do is to apply through the global midwife response in the United States, done by Aurora Morrow. So when you go online, you can see global midwife response, Aurora Morrow, and you can apply. You can come here, we share our experiences. Some of the midwives in the West have said they have never seen a normal birth. Sometimes they have said that the doctors take the center stage and they just only watch from afar. So you can come here and share experience with us. We offer hands-on midwifery experience, no pharmacological path of support, normal path, including facilitation of the more challenging parts, like I say, shoulder distortion, which deliveries, vaginal birth after cesarean VPACs. Outreach work in the slums, you can also experience how the midwife outreach partnership works. You can also share the rich African culture in our community. The next slide. So what can you offer? You see, I said we are challenged setting. The resources are paramount for this care to succeed. And many families depend on this care to thrive. And we always ask for support. And we also say a donation can be sent, an individual, an organization, or whatever. So are you a skilled grant applicant, writer? Whatever your skills, we can find use for it. Karibu sana, meaning most welcome. You may raise funds from home that may be offered further the growth of the clinic. You can say, okay, I want to raise funds to provide supplies, and want to raise to pay a midwife or to provide for that woman who's coming for care and provide the maternal package. You can identify a long-term project and marshal your support. Or if there's a philanthropist in your town, please just tell them, come, and be involved in this wonderful work at FreMo. Next slide. So I came with these words, path to world peace. We can end our conflicts with love. World peace is possible only if we embrace love from birth till death. Our world will know the true meaning of peace if we respect, dignify, and give love to a mother who is pregnant, a mother in labor. Next slide. A mother bringing up a child. If we support all mothers, whether rich or poor, single or widowed, stable or unstable, abandoned or provided for, and we can use all the money spent on conflict to support less privileged individuals in our society. God bless the work of our hands. Moffat Osoro, founder, FreMo Medical and Path Center, Nairobi, Kenya. Thank you very much for sharing with me. Asante sana.
Oh, that's just so inspirational. Thank you so much again, Moffat, for returning to us. And you can see there that it's FreMo Center, the email, FreMoCentre@gmail.com. And that's the FreMo Medical and Birth Center. So we'll just stop sharing that slide now. And I see that we've got some Q&As here. And Shelley's made a few comments. This is an incredible achievement. Please, can you explain how the team was motivated to provide this critical personalized humanistic care? I think you've answered that today. And how is the project funded? Do women have to pay for the service? And how many births per year are happening at the center? Really interesting questions, if you could answer those.
Well, what I said what motivated me when I started the center. I'd moved to this neighborhood and I became a victim of poor medical care. Again, when I got married, when we had started the center and my wife was pregnant and I had to move her to a public hospital and the care just shot and frustrated me. And I felt like no other woman I know possibly could feel that experience. And I can tell you, I have 2 children after my firstborn. My second daughter, who is 9 years, was born at my house with the help of a midwife and a doctor. And it was just a beautiful normal birth. And also my youngest, who is 5 years now, was born at FreMo, the beautiful bathroom busted with care. So it didn't change the beginning, but at least I will be the recipient of what I missed in the first chapter of parenthood. So what happened in funding, we don't have direct donations that comes to us. So we attach a small fee for those who can pay. So for a normal birth, it goes like $65 for a normal birth, but not many families. There are those who can pay, not everybody, but there are those who pay. And when you look at the amount, it's quite not sustainable, because I've seen in some hospitals in Nairobi, they can set up $1,000 for birth. And we're like, how can we say? And sometimes we have like volunteer midwife, we attach a fee for them to come here and volunteer. It comes to the state. But also we have midwife, we say, like I've said, when you go back home, what do we want to do with your community? Run a fundraiser, send the dollar. Or sometimes we can have a few individuals can say, hey, we want to support. Like today, if somebody feels like they support us, they can support. So it's cost sharing. We try to run this as a private non-profit organization, but we will gear towards sustainability. So and there's also a medical section that also, because it's a medical and health center, but for the priority of the women, they are cared fully without any challenge. If they can pay, they can pay. If they don't pay, they don't pay.
And how many births a year are you doing there?
The highest we award is 700, but 700. We are all the 700 parts, but also we range around 500 parts per year.
Okay. All right. So
there's
a couple a day, basically.
Yes, and there's a question: what motivated the midwife to work with you to change the care? I think, let me say this. I always share with the midwives. I'm telling you, okay, I'm sorry to say this. I had this midwife who came and she was in the room and she felt like the woman was not cooperating and she used a bad language and she wanted to be violent. When the care was done, I said, I'm done with you. Go away. You don't belong here. So it's the midwife, we are human beings. And can I tell you that most of the midwives, all our midwives are young, and the doctors, all of them, their babies have been born here. And they see the essence in, and they see that what could have been. And they're also involved, when they transfer women. Do you know that women will refuse to live FreMo? They'd rather die dignity than survive in indignity. So sometimes we have these women, we say, at this level, we need to refer you to get another care, advanced care, maybe a cesarean because of obstruction or something. And they say, no, please. And they beg, if only you promise you're going to stay with me. We had this challenge until we had to talk to the referral hospital. We had a meeting and we said, our women want to die here. It's not well. So can we have an arrangement when we bring our women down there, they know that they're going to be treated well. And even the other hospital were very, very good. They said, anytime FreMo brings their women, they have requested that their women are treated differently and they feel they should get care, which is not good because it's discrimination. All human beings should be treated equally, whatever, where you're coming from, and not just be FreMo, but also we have to stand for our women. And every center in the city has to come forward and say, hey, we're bringing our women, why are they doing this to them? So that we form a one voice against this poor treatment.
Yeah, it's wonderful that the hospital has agreed to, look after your woman with a little bit more care than they would maybe usually give, and a little bit more love. But as you say, that it shouldn't even be necessary. They should be giving that to everybody that's there, every woman. Your statistics are pretty incredible, aren't they? Sorry, which is why, part of the reason why, your center has attracted a lot of, attention internationally, which is, a huge credit to you, and massive credit to you and your team and your brother and Vicky and everybody and all the amazing work you're doing. But, when we look over that, so of those years that you've been there, you've had no maternal deaths. And when you think of the pre-existing complications and complexities that come in with your woman, that's phenomenal in itself. You're not dealing with a whole lot of low-risk women. You've got and not just medical complications, but lifestyle complications, and 96% normal birth rates, 99% exclusive breastfeeding rates, 0 third-degree tears, and 0 episiotomies performed. I mean, it's just, they must be quite literally some of the best birth outcome statistics available on the planet. And you're in a third world setting. It's just what you're doing and what you're accomplishing in those is just so incredibly phenomenal. It really does require people to, in many Western settings, to just sit up and go, wow, why does our hospital have a 35% C-section rate? What's going on there? Why is that happening? And when you think that, it's pretty common around the West that it's around about a 1/3 C-section rate, and that is across the whole board. So of course it's a higher rate for primates. So when you walk into a hospital as a primate in the Western setting and you realize that you've got a 40-45% C-section chance, and then we need to add into that instrumental deliveries of ventouse and forceps. I mean, what's your chance of a normal vaginal birth in a Western hospital? 50% would be optimistic,
Yeah.
right? In some settings, and you're doing 96%. Wow, yeah. So, and that whole breastfeeding, when women do give birth normally and naturally, and they in a non-traumatic way, that whole breastfeeding and bonding is all set up so much better, not just from the woman's perspective, but from the baby's perspective. When that baby's been yanked out, sucked out, or cut out, they themselves are traumatized, and we see it on the chignon bruising and forcep marks and everything else. Oftentimes we think these babies have got a wicked headache. Why are they not latching properly? Because their head is throbbing from their delivery for days, and they scream and scream and scream for days. So the woman is not just experiencing horrific sometimes, but likely traumatic labor and birth outcome and disappointment, and then she's physically recovering from whatever's been done to her with the episiotomies of the ventouse forceps deliveries and the C-sections and everything else. And she's recovering, and the baby's screaming its head off because it's got a wicked headache, and it can't latch properly. So how is that going to set her up to successfully create exclusive breastfeeding? It's a hard, it can, and she can get there, but boy, it's not an easy journey when you see babies that are born completely naturally, no epidurals, just that wonderful, no oxytocin drips, and they come out, and those babies, don't you think they often look like, if they could purr like a cat, they would. They're almost smiling, right? So they just come out and they just look so cozy and happy, and they crawl up their mum's chest and they latch themselves onto the nipple, and that's normal. And it's when you fix this, it fixes that, and it fixes that, and it fixes that, right? It's that cascade of normalcy instead of that cascade of intervention. So we're way over time, but just another, so we should wind up, but another little reminder to those watching, do spread the word, with regards to midwives volunteering at the centre. What an incredible experience that could be. And yeah, and I remember, well, I happen to be based in New Zealand, and New Zealand is known for having some of the world's best maternity health care, and because we have what we call a continuity of care system. So women, when they become pregnant, most of them have choose their midwife, and then they see an obstetrician if they need to. If there's a complication, then they would, and the obstetricians really only get involved in abnormal care, which is their specialty. as it should be. But I myself have had student midwives come over from, say, America to do their sort of last 3 months of clinical, and they have never seen a woman without an epidural on.
Exactly.
How can you know what normal birth is when you have not ever seen it? Yeah, exactly. So it's you're amazing. You're amazing, and thank you. I love, you know, your policy that you just say FreMo is just about providing simple, normal, and compassionate care. You kind of, it's that KISS system. Keep it simple, stupid.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. Why are we overcomplicating things? Well, we are so over time, and is there any? Oh, yes. Is there anything final that you would just like to conclude with, and then we'll wind things up?
Well, what I can say, I'm so grateful for all the people who are involved, from my staff, the wonderful team. I know the circumstances we work because of the resources they are making, but they are compassionate. I saw one question asked, what has inspired the team? Because it's also something that people say, this care is run by these people. It's one of the best team you'll ever find. It's a family. I also say the community has been supportive because it gives us opportunity. They believe in us, they entrust their families, and we are so grateful for that. Also, the midwives all over the world. I think COVID was a big challenge to midwives coming in here, but from this year, I've seen a couple of interest in coming here. And I said that if you want to come volunteer, you can reach me personally or reach Rora of Global Midwife Response. She can be able to through the vetting process, and any donation can be sent to Global Midwife Response. That's an government organization, tax-free status in the US, and it can reach to us. Thank you, Kate, also for this opportunity. I look forward for next time to keep sharing the word at FreMo, keep reaching the people under as well as all over the world. Thank you very much.
Our pleasure. Caribou, as you say. Most welcome.
Yes. Thank you.
And thank you those that are live. We're live here today with us, and we know that a lot of you will be watching this later down the track. And thank you, Moffat. It was just always so nice to have you here, and you know, doing what we can to spread the word of the amazing work that you're doing. And so thank you to everybody. Want to wish you all a wonderful rest of your week, and we'll see you later. Bye, everybody. Thank you, Moffat. Bye.
Thank you.